Hello and welcome to Fresh Face One Shots. My name is Joey,
And I'm Jacob.
and welcome back to our coverage of Night Terrors, the DC Comics summer event of 2023. This week, we do not have a regular main Night Terrors issue out, but we have been reading and very much enjoying Superman by Joshua Williamson, and this is Night Terrors Superman by Joshua Williamson. So why the fuck not? It doesn't really tie much into the actual main Superman run, but it's a really great tie-in in and of itself.
Yes.
I thought, at least.
Yeah, it's a nice tie-in to the event itself. So
yeah.
I kind of, I don't know, because I know you mentioned some of the runs that you're reading are also directly tying into their tie-ins.
Yeah, there are a couple that are directly tying in, like Green Lantern, and I'm pretty sure Catwoman is. Or no, Harley. Harley Quinn is. But yeah, for the most part, most of them are just kind of doing their own thing. And the premise behind each of these tie-ins is pretty simple. It's, just as Insomnia is attacking, what are all of our heroes and villains experiencing nightmare-wise? What are their worst fears and all that? Characters like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are tying in a bit more directly to the main event, as we see one of the things that happened in Night Terror's First Blood directly leads into this first issue here. But it still is sort of its own thing, and at the end of the day, most of these tie-ins, like I said, are just examinations of our characters and their deepest, darkest fears, and let's find out what Superman's are, I guess. So
Yes. Now, I will say some things that actually really struck me is, once again, Joshua Williamson is a master when it comes to characterizing Superman.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
As well as understanding that there's already plenty of Superman stories and plenty of very famous Superman stories that explore Superman's fears.
Yeah.
But what I'd really like to call out here is the art.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
the art is
Tom Riley.
With Nathan Fairburn on colors. So the issue starts with basically a recap of the end of First Blood.
Yeah, where
Superman's flying off to...
We find out what everyone else is up to, and he falls out of the sky, and I
falls
love...
asleep.
And his nightmare begins, and I love, actually, first off, before we actually get into the nightmare, I love the occasional panel that shows up in the middle of the nightmare as our Superman outside of the nightmare is still just plummeting through the sky and falling into the ocean, and we see him fall through the ocean. It's so well done. I love it.
It also it really adds those tiny panels. I think there's about one or two it's about one per page on average. It really adds to sort of that dreamlike quality where you feel like, oh, this entire madness is happening in an instant. Because it's a nightmare.
Yeah. But Tom Riley, I know you already started calling him out. Like, specifically this first nightmare here, is sort of, I imagine, meant to emulate a much older art style in comics.
It's straight out of like the 40s and 50s, like.
Yeah, and Riley is making very deliberate choices when he draws things like these characters' faces, things like Lois and Jimmy's hairstyles. It's very, very much meant to emulate these golden age style versions of these characters.
I mean, and that's for one page. The outfits that everyone's wearing, like Jimmy is wearing that classic plaid and the bow tie. Lois is in sort of that pink. But also, because this is a nightmare, continuity doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you
in
can
a
do literally
really
anything,
fun way.
including the return of Turtle Boy.
Yes, but also like
one panel and one panel only.
And in that same panel, Lois Lane has a witch's hat.
Yeah.
And Lois is cycling through costumes every other panel again because it's a nightmare.
But I do love, and I mean love, like genuinely fucking cackled when I saw this one panel when Perry comes out with the Daily Planet newspaper and the headline reads "Whole World Saved Forever." So fucking good. Williamson not only does a great job of just continuing the horror theme of this whole event, and also just kind of making it comedic in this sort of like black comedy sort of way, that really, really works, I feel.
Yeah.
We also do get a small, and I mean really, really small tie-in to the main Superman run with this sort of like offhanded line about Superman working with Lex, as they say that the reason the whole world is saved forever is because Superman is working with Lex, and he finally took his advice.
And like that's kind of the early nightmare scenario, really, is that it's kind of psychologically delving into Clark's current emotions in the run of is this still the right decision? Is this like it's terrifying? I thought of working with Lex Luthor, meaning the whole world is saved forever.
Yeah.
Of course, that's only a moment because, of course, the whole world's not actually saved for forever. There is a giant tidal wave coming to Metropolis.
Speaking of the weather, but I do love also that in a lot of these tie-ins, Insomnia is taking on the form of a specific character in the Nightmare, and I love here that it is Perry. And Superman figures out that it's Insomnia really quickly, and so Perry's just like, ah, shoot, I was hoping I'd have more time before you figured it all out. And it's just like kind of a really just dry moment that really works, I think. Yeah, Clark goes to save the day. He rips open his shirt, classic Superman style, to find that a version of an S is carved into his chest. It looks like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm wondering if that's a specific reference to maybe something that happened pre-Dawn of DC, almost, because I know
I believe so. Yeah, that should be.
I know Clark was on War World for a while.
Yeah. Yep. And then everyone turns into like water around him. Everyone sort of like crumbles away. Perry reveals that he's Insomnia right now. And again, I just love the way that Insomnia is drawn. Everyone, the different artists on these tie-ins sort of get like their own little opportunity to draw their own little take on Insomnia. And Tom Riley does a great job here, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah, and sort of push Superman out the window. He flies through a bunch of different atmospheres.
Nightmare scenarios. Basically, a bunch of nightmare scenarios of
one of which featuring Brainiac.
Yeah, it's basically all the fears of the death and destruction before it settles on a much more existential fear brought to life in sort of an over-the-top comic booky way.
Yeah, there's this sort of
mountain of skulls.
Yes. From which comes this metallic angel of death looking creature that's sort of meant to be Superman-esque with an S on the chest and all that. It says, "This is the reason you are the man of tomorrow, because in the future you are the last man standing. You will outlive everyone you have ever known, everyone you have ever loved." Which, my fucking god. That's a different kind of fear that you don't tap into with Superman much. And Williamson,
I know there's an Elseworlds book called Superman at Earth's End where he fights twin clones of Hitler. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, which I've never read, but just
it's apparently not very good.
It's one of those things you're just kind of curious to read, though, you know?
Yeah, but I think Williamson can actually do that premise, at least of Superman being at the end of the Earth, really well in this tiny nightmare scenario.
True. And through this fight, we
go back to Superman's beginning, because what's interesting is it feels like Insomnia as a villain. And this may be my interpretation, because basically all of Clark's opposition is meant to be Insomnia somehow. Doesn't know how to handle Clark? Like, he can tap into these fears, sure. But Clark realizes this is a dream. Like,
yeah. Jeremy Adams did a very similar thing in the Green Lantern one, too, where Insomnia, like Hal Jordan has been through like so much trauma that Insomnia has like all these different like plans around, and Hal just sort of like pushes right through it because he is like willpower. He keeps like pushing through it, and he's like, well, fine, that didn't work. Let's try this and this and this and this and this. And not many of the tie-ins are doing that, but I like it when like Insomnia has actually like met their match in a respect in like a specific hero, I think. And so, yeah, we go back to the destruction of Krypton, and we see little baby Cal flying from Krypton and down to Earth with this great line from Insomnia. "You are not your adopted world savior. You are a bullet fired in Earth's direction," as Insomnia takes its giant scythe and slices the Earth in half in this beautifully grotesque image that Tom Riley, once again, just absolutely crushes. There's so much good artwork in this one issue.
Yeah. And then it kind of shifts, because Clark doesn't have to fight his battle alone, as Kara Zor-El bursts through the dream into Clark's, which makes me fascinated to see how Insomnia's powers work, if he controls like almost a dream world or like his own pocket of like a dreaming type scenario,
and ones that can be like sort of like broken through to go into someone else's little realm here. Like it's really fascinating, and I'm liking seeing it explored in like various different ways here throughout this event. Makara breaks through. She's running from these like zombie-looking Supergirls of different eras, and I also love I love the specific call out to the Red Lantern Supergirl, which is always lovely to see.
There's a Red Lantern
There's a
Su-
Red Lantern Supergirl because New 52 Kara is one pissed off bitch, and I love her.
Okay, okay. Add that to the list, Joey. You have piqued my interest.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, listen to Fresh Face Comics. Anyway, but Superman breaks through this, or not really breaks through it. He washes up on the shore as we end this portion of the nightmare. He's being looked after by these off the screen speech bubbles, and we end on a random appearance, it seems, from the Aqua family.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it threw me for a loop. Listener/viewer, Joey read this before me yesterday.
I think, what were my exact words? The end of Superman Night Terrors is gonna slap you in the fucking face.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, is that like a twist? No, I
Not
mean,
a twist. I mean, a twist sort of, but it's just really fucking random.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're here.
Yeah, I'm excited because like Aquaman's not getting his own tie-in to Night Terrors.
Because he doesn't have, I don't think he has a book right now.
Yeah, yeah, but it does just seem really random, doesn't it?
Yeah, but in like a good way. Like, I can see the potential.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so like,
but yeah, I guess that's
Night Terrors Superman #2 is probably going to be Aquaman and company saving Superman while Clark and Kara fight off zombie Karas.
Which sounds fun as fuck.
Sounds very fun, and that's what, next month.
Next month, yeah, about the same amount of weeks in between, I think.
They have a thing at the back of the digital edition. August 15th is when #2 comes out for Superman.
There we go. Actually, less than a month, so not bad.
Yes. So very nice.
Nice.
So I believe what next week is.
Next week is Night Terrors #2. Yeah.
Yes. So
and then so it's Night Terrors #2, Night Terrors #3, I think. And then I think there's a week off before #4.
I'm checking at the month 2 schedule. There's a week off in between 2 and 3 for us.
Oh, 2 and 3. Okay, that's right.
Yes.
That's right. It's a bunch of times at the start of the month.
Yeah. And then it's #3. Then it's Superman 2. Then
4, and then the one shot to end it.
And then the one shot ending. Yes. So that's
cool. Awesome. So yeah, I'm loving this event so much so far. I know you're not reading all the tie-ins. I mean, neither am I. I'm not reading like all of them, but the ones I have read are so damn good and really well worth exploring in the larger context of this event, I think.
I will say, from the limited tie-ins that I have been reading, I am so glad that they're very good adjacent. They all seem to be very nice adjacent character pieces and not containing like integral plot points in the tie-in.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the rest of our Night Terrors videos and continue to check them out throughout the rest of this month and next month. We'll be back next week with Terrors #2. Be sure to listen to Fresh Face Comics, the main podcast, where we're coming up on our 47th episode soon.
Yes, in about a week, I believe, when this is coming out.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be cool. We got some guests on that. That'll be super fun. And the start of our Vertigo block. That'll be super fun.
Yes.
As always, our socials and link trees will be down in the description below, as well as an Amazon link to buy this issue digitally. And I guess that about does it. Be sure to subscribe to Blood Donut Studios. Once again, great subscriber influx recently. Don't know where it's coming from, but it means a lot, guys. You're awesome. So yeah, I guess that about does it. Right?
Yeah, that does it.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.